Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch, your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network. Welcome back to another installment of Bodybuilding Daily, where we talk about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. 4 days out from the Arnold Classic, and let's go ahead and start off with courtesy of Brazil Bodybuilding News, BBN, not PNN, another phenomenal news outlet, sharing a recent highlight physique update from Ramon Dino from one of his stories, as everyone is so much better at that than me of capturing that information, showing recent physique updates, the front, the side. There's also another shot you'll see in just a second of a comparison between him and rUrs Kalecinski, the debated projected top two coming into the Arnold Classic. I am looking forward to seeing how well this physique translates to the stage. Something that I've been, I don't want to say critical of, but something I have noticed with him is the posing has been a little bit of an interesting transformation with the way his legs show. Specifically, I think he could show his legs in a different way, maybe a little bit more classic or traditional. I think Totoro agrees as he's scratching the crap out of his ear. I'd like to see him pose his legs just a tad bit better. It does worry me that he's going to look a little smaller, or maybe even a little bit stringier, if you will, when he stands next to some of these other, thicker legged bodybuilders. Now, Ramon does have a phenomenal flow to his physique, and I think that has been able to carry him in most aspects of his career so far, as well as, the beautiful flow, the aesthetics, the proportions, all of that has been a really good benefit for him. I do wish him the best of luck, and I expect him to do very well at the Arnold Classic. Debatably, he is the projected winner for the show. Next up, some more physique updates from rUrs Kalecinski. Again, this one is just before 4 days out, about 5 or 6 days out from the Arnold Classic, so a couple days old at this point, but he looks good. He looks very lean. He does look a little bit small, and that is probably because he's been dieting so hard. He's going to look leaner. He's going to look more compact than he traditionally would. And that seems to be across the board. Most of these guys are looking a little flat, a little small. And as soon as they start to carb up, as soon as they start introducing a little bit more nutrition into their diets as they get ready to get on stage here this weekend, I'm assuming that they're going to fill out a lot better. And this was the side-by-side that I was talking about. I like this. Again, it's kind of an apples and oranges. You've got someone who's got a little bit more size in Ramon Dino, and you have someone with a little bit more shape in rUrs Kalecinski. So the judges are going to have their hands full picking between these two guys, and that's not even talking about, you got Courage Opara in that mix. You've got Mike Sommerfeld, who's in my opinion a good contender, who just won the the Kuwait Classic, the Saudi Classic. So he's already qualified for next year's Olympia. He's been making improvements, but these two gentlemen are by far, in my opinion, at least, going to be in the battle for the top two for the Arnold Classic physique title. A gentleman that I've heard people say he could land anywhere from first to fifth to not peaking at all and showing up soft is Andrew Jacked, our good friends over at the the Old School Maramba. I guess I've always misread that. They're sharing a highlight from the story. I believe it was the technician Chris Aceto sharing an update on a podcast with Dave Palumbo, huge 285, talking about how Andrew Jacked is going to be battling it out here. And the big conversation here and the big takeaway from Andrew Jacked is you got to remember this guy's got to show up in shape from the back. The back needs to match the front. If he's able to do that, he can move all the way up to, who knows, he could win the darn thing. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to win it, but it would be kind of a fun storyline for him to win the Arnold Classic UK and then come into his first pro amateur Ohio after winning his pro card at the very same show just last year, right? And then winning it. Now, who I think is going to win the show is Nick Walker. Especially looking at this photo, he looks so crisp. He looks so clean. He's very fresh. The muscle bellies are very full. Everything flows nicely. He's really made the strength a weakness into a strength with the midsection, and I think it's just something that really needs to be rewarded and appreciated. From what I've heard with the conversation of other news outlets and some of the pros and big names in judging and coaching, is that Nick Walker is the favorite to win this show. I have nothing against that one. There's nothing here I see that is a weakness. Like I said, the midsection looks stupid small. The legs are by far the best legs you're going to see when you look at completeness, fullness, conditioning, separation, all of that combined into a good, complete score. I think Nick Walker's legs are going to be the ones that get the look from the judges. Now, I will say the big one was the front and back lat spread for Nick Walker. So if he's able to make improvements on that with presentation and keeping the midsection small, while also allowing the shoulders to give as much width as he can, as he doesn't have the craziest wide shoulders, but they still are very competitive within the landscape of bodybuilding, at least in 2023. Now, we're going to talk about, I think Shaun Clarida is going to pop up in a second, and two other people that are doing the Arnold Classic. But Hunter Labarada, someone who did not qualify for this year's Olympia based off his placings at last year's Olympia, he's going to have to qualify for the first time in a couple years now. And for me, it's going to be very interesting to see if he even qualifies. If the point system's gone, so he has to win shows. I think he has a lot of weaknesses and a lot of things to work on. He said himself in a most recent interview, I can't remember who, I think it was with Dennis James. Yeah, Dennis James, actually, right here. He was talking about where he's going to compete and some of the weaknesses he had from the last Olympia, specifically the midsection. I did think that the midsection poured out just a little bit when he was posing and when he was doing his transitions. But for the most part, he only has one pec, so it's very obvious. I see it every time. And then the conditioning, he just wasn't sharp. He hasn't been sharp, but he continues to show up at the Olympia, and he gets those placings. And what he got, top 4 a couple years ago. So I digress with that one, but he is going to be doing the Tampa and the Texas this year. So regardless, best of luck. Shaun Clarida sharing some news with his coach Chris Aceto on another plug for Dave Palumbo, talking about how he's going to be a factor and people are going to be overlooking him. In my opinion, he is going to be the most complete bodybuilder, minus the chest. I think his chest is undersized and it really does pull away from the physique. But I mean, his side shots are just so nutty. The legs are so big and full. The shoulders, the triceps. I mean, this photo was chosen on purpose. I think he's a very complete bodybuilder. I think he's going to be competitive. You're probably going to see him maybe 4 or 5. I think if Rami shows up off, he'll be able to challenge Rami and maybe challenge an Akim if they both come in, maybe 90% or less. But I don't know if I could see him placing any higher. He's going to have to knock off some serious competitors, and I don't know if that's in the cards for him at this Arnold Classic. Now, someone who I do think a possible win or second place finish is in the cards is for Samson Dauda. This physique update was about 3 days ago, at exactly 1 week out from the Arnold Classic. And I thought it was an interesting comparison of him comparing a lot of comparings from the most recent Olympia, where he was 3 days out. Now, you got to remember there is some funky stuff going on here. The angles are much different and lower. The lighting is different. He's a lot better conditioned, and he's been able to put on maybe just a little bit of muscle since the Olympia. So there's lots of discrepancies to kind of pull some validity away from these comparisons, but I do think Samson Dauda looks phenomenal in this video. If I'm being completely fair, as a fan, I think it's very impressive. Again, I say it for everyone, but I am looking forward to him getting on the Arnold Classic stage. He looks so good, and for him to come into this year's Arnold Classic and possibly move up a few placings from last year's Arnold, I think is going to be a win for him regardless. Obviously, the conversation is him winning this show. I know Fouad, right? That's how Guy says it. I know Fouad has been really championing his cause, Samson's cause of winning the show. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. 1, it's his athlete. You got to rep your own people. And then 2, Samson is undeniably very impressive and can win the Arnold Classic depending on what the judges are looking for, either him or a Nick Walker. Apples and oranges, genuinely, people. So I like what I'm seeing here. I think he's going to do very, very well as well, as long as he just continues to keep improving on the conditionings. Someone I'd like to see more physique updates from, but historically you just don't get it, especially if he's off, is from Akim Williams. I have been vocal that he is my dark horse pick for the show. I think he does bring a very interesting look that we don't typically get to see with that much mass on him, but also he's been bringing really good conditioning in this prep, minus his other showings that weren't as sharp. I think he looks phenomenal so far. In this photo is about 2 days ago, so it's a little older, so you got to think he's going to continue to deplete, and he'll probably fill up. He'll probably start carbing and reintroducing carbohydrates, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, depending on how lean he wants to look. And I think that's going to be the strategic look for him in his camp, is bringing the most conditioned version of himself. Everyone knows he's big. He needs to bring condition. Kind of a lost cause here is Patrick Moore. He looks great, but in my opinion, this is pretty much just going to be a starting point for him for his prep. I think he's going to hop into the New York Pro and try to snag a win there, and then he's going to roll into the Cali Pro in about 10 weeks from now, which is historically a show he's done before. I don't think he's going to be a conversation piece here at the Arnold Classic. That's no disrespect. I love his proportions. I think his front double is very, very nice. It's just the completeness minus the actually to include the lack of conditioning, I think is just going to really hurt him in this contest. And that's no disrespect to him. That's just my observation. I'm sure you guys can agree or you can disagree. Of course, please let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This video will come out as soon as I can, so look forward to that. But as always, please check out booth 1009 at the Arnold Classic. Old School Bodybuilding Clothing Company has made us some super awesome t-shirts for the Arnold Classic. This is what the back is going to look like. So if you want to order these, or if you want to pick these up at the store, you can. I haven't talked with Scott, the owner, if they have them available online yet, but if they are, please support Scott and Old School Bodybuilding Clothing Company, and then vicariously that supports me. If they do sell out, perfect transition, you can go to bodybuildingnews.net. You can buy a very similar shirt with just my logo and the shield banner on the outside collar insert. If you guys want to support me in that avenue, you can. Of course, if money's a little tight, you can always like the video, and sharing is free. So please share this video with a like-minded individual, a friend, family, something like that. It does help the channel grow. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching another installment of Bodybuilding Daily on the Bodybuilding News Network. I'm your host, Josh Sanch. Thank you so much. I will see you at the Arnold Classic. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.